Just give me the scuba gear. I call you niggas when you can come in. And for the long range nationhood planning, science is the foundation of every aspect of a society that you can have. There is a science of people, there's a science of metals, there's a science of agriculture, there's a science of everything.
Alright, Brother Thutmose, what is the first goal of the lodge?
The first goal, like I said a second ago, is to be able to interject ourselves in situations such as Haiti and provide aid to our people.
I'm talking about before that, as far as getting members in the organization together and getting that money together. How we go along? How do we propose on getting this money together so we can help our people and build this organization?
There's two ways. The second part of the organization is a scientific research and development foundation. I'll go into that first. You pretty much know how you get money from people for an aid fund. You solicit, you signs, internet, marketing, ads. You try to keep your overhead as low as possible. You know you'll benefit with the non-profit status. And a few of the eccentric, albeit will prove effective, methods that I wanted to use was concentrating in the African communities, the Asian stores, and diaspora aid fund box on every counter. But as far as scientific research and development, these are programs that will have to be developed and contracted out to diasporan governments. Governments that are in a situation where they are able to develop industrial programs, small scale, medium, and large. We know that agriculture is the basis, ever since time immemorial, of societies. If you can feed yourself, then you can think about the next day what to do. The second, I'll say, most important industry is metals. In order to have a pertinent farming situation, you must have knowledge of metals for hoeing and all the other tools that you'll need in order to carry out the process of farming. Chemistry and herbology. You have to be healthy as a people.
So how do we go about educating our people about these different industries?
What people? I ain't talking to no 50 million black people. I'm not talking to them. You see this? We
talk about the government,
right?
And the government giving their people work.
Right. Well, what you and I were discussing is that ultimately the government is supposed to say, "Hey, it's a job over here. You can take it. If you want to."
When we talk about using our resources and our own people to build our nation.
Okay. And which method, from which perspective? Are you asking the question based on connecting our people to the natural resources of wherever they are and developing industry?
I mean, we're definitely going to need an education system to educate our people on how to get the resource and develop it.
Let's use the word training.
Training, all right.
And in Black Africa, Diop mentioned it, the training of key personnel, as he stated. Near the back, I believe. And this is important because as like I said earlier, a technical class, our privilege is that we have access to highly technical information on highly technical industries such as electronics, such as the industries of logistics, with, as you and Brother Mahdi are involved in, the jet plane industry. People in the other world don't have no clue about this type of shit, you know. So you have to be able to, from a grassroots perspective, convey that information. You know, there's always some nigga who get up in something, you know, and figure that shit out. And he the nigga who open up the book for you and tell you, no, nigga, fuck all of that. Don't even worry about that, nigga. Just pick right here, nigga. That's all you need to know. And that's it. All the rest of it will be bullshit. So when you get into the nuts and bolts of technology in different venues, the technology of building, it's kind of like a science and technology. You kind of like, you know, they together, you know. And so you have to look at it from that perspective, you know, computer technology, you know, computer science. They're calling both of them. They're interchangeable.
So we're going to use this education system.
We have to be able to convey this information to our people.
And teach it to our people in the motherland.
Right.
So we're going to grab some books.
Right.
And grab up all the information we can.
On scientific research, Diop says, basic research will always remain essentially a university concern. Therefore, right at the start, with full objectivity, the university will be rightfully entitled to claim the required funds for the construction of high-energy accelerators, for example, to contribute to the further elucidation of elemental particles, behavior of matter at high levels of energy, and other such problems. Scientific research and development. You ain't gonna get nowhere based on it being 2004 and, you know, just talking about a gun and not having the plan in place for after you use the gun, what you're gonna do.
All right, cool. So now with all this training information, all this knowledge, we need some kind of connection. What's the connection with the embassy and the African countries? What's your connection with these two?
I was thinking to myself, I was like, well, damn, I can't be the only one thinking this shit. It's like Pan-African. Dr. Carr said, you have to connect with the mother. You got to get a visa and a passport and all that shit. So a lot of us went through this process, but we never think to call the other consulate, the military attaché and the commercial attaché and all them niggas. When you dial into that office right now, woo! Man, I call them boys. I watched the Dr. Albert Lewis. I was like, God damn, you mean some niggas killed 100,000 crackers in Africa and we don't want nobody tell me about this shit? Hey, look, who handle political affairs in the embassy? Well, we got the political attaché, we got the military attaché. Give me him. My name is Fernando Miller. Hey, you the military attaché? A nigga told me it was 100,000 crackers died in 1990 in your country, you know, during the military. Yeah, it was Kuto Kunavali. We had a situation where ourselves and the Cuban army were involved in a situation whereby which we had to crush the resistance of various countries who had formed themselves into factions. I'm like, whoa! Holy shit. I mean, this is what I dreamed of all my life.
So you're trying to say Angola is the key?
There are various methods. If I was somebody who absolutely, like I strived to be before, while I trained with the Cubans and learned military geography and went through all the mechanisms of a modern revolutionary, in the end, you know, the idea was that, okay, you got a whole bunch of guns, but it's a river. And you can't get across there. So what you gonna do?
Get some ships.
So
some bridge.
So the idea of nationhood is very directly connected to the idea of military, because everything needed to maintain the nation is contained within the military. The medics, the bridge builders, the carpenters, everybody.
You're trying to say a military is a mini nation.
It's a mini nation.
All right, gotcha. So how are we gonna make this connection?
Sister Abana is an educator, and we have discussed.
So we go to the embassy with our proposal.
We go to the embassy with the proposal. You're right, step by step. Number one,
let's go back to that.
and you can go one or two ways. It's two ways you can do it, and that's because we have two organisms within the organizational structure, and that's the aid organization, whereby which you under that nonprofit status are allowed within certain boundaries. So as you say, I'm nonprofit, I'm an aid organization, anywhere in Africa where they got the little border draw, the UN do, in these certain little pockets, you got the plane money, you can drop down, show your little card, and start putting your feelers out in the field. So that's one method. And the process for that is we've gone over as far as being an African-centered organization based on providing aid to our people. Who would give us money? We say African grassroots organizations. We say specific business and African-centered community development centers. We say that the holistic community. And as far as, because I did it working with the party, we was doing the clothing, we was doing the homeless shelter, we was doing it. And me myself, it seemed like I always just be drawn to the dramatic, everybody else, I just show up on the scene and this brother's been in the party and we be back and forth and they be handling real shit. They, some of them be the ones who, when hey man, we was stalking the police last night, boy. They coming to me, we was stalking there, and then the other niggas come in. Hey man, shit, who set that shit on fire over there? We talking like that, but it seemed like everything that was heart wrenching, everything that involved the very young or the very old, or those situations where nothing could be helped. See, like that's the shit I always get into. It was a sister who was
before we go off the subject a little too much. I want to talk about once we make that connection with the embassy.
Right.
I guess the next step will be for the embassy to get in touch with the different countries in Africa. How does that step work?
One by one. If you want to go to one of your favorite places, West Africa.
Yeah.
You sign up with a tourist visa, you goddamn it, boy, and they go hug you and sing a song when you land at the airport. Goddamn it. And you gonna feel good. And you can walk around and do whatever you got to do for however long you want to do it. You go to Angola, they don't give a fuck about no tourist visa. When you go over this information I give you under tourism, they got mining, they got a paragraph. They got building, they got a paragraph. Tourism, that shit blank. They don't care about that because they fought and lost their people. So they don't care about no shit about no hotels and you coming there and connected with some cultural shit. They say if you come in to handle some business, that's fine. Land, here go the folks who gonna help you. Here go the shit you need to see. Now,
so basically, saying West Africa is this a mini Europe. It's a tourist
West
section.
Africa. If any connections that you would make with West Africa, in mostly Nigeria,
Ghana,
Cameroon, Senegal, you would best be served to make contacts with people who are established in that area. That's the best method to take with dealing with that region, but it's limited. Man, this diamond's washing up on the damn beach in Namibia. Still. To this day. Just walk along the beach in Namibia. Ain't shit. I mean, it's crazy here. the desert meets the beach is all sand.
And so the operation you thinking about is starting from Angola and Namibia area.
The reason why I picked it is for political reasons. If you go to West Africa, as soon as you start talking some Pan-Africanist shit, they're gonna bust your ass. Niggas gonna bust your ass.
Why is that?
Because the colonial structure that was in place before the independence movement of the 1960s was taken over by a class of Africans whose interest has been in maintaining, to a degree, European dominance over the continent, based over, not because, and we got the, I don't think of it so much because I've talked to these folks at the embassy, and we've had long conversations, and when they defend these brothers, they say, well, look, think about what it would have, we'd have lost a whole lot more if we would have took this stance at this time, and me as a young person, I'm going to still hand it to them. No, fuck that. We should have died. We should have died then and got that shit over with, and now been on the road to real freedom instead of still kissing these crackers' ass. But as far as the process that it takes to implement the knowledge that we have as African Americans to our people on the continent is as simple as a goddamn plane ride. It ain't nothing fancy that need to be, explained a whole lot.
Alright, so operations will start out in the south, and once it gain momentum, we push up further north. Because we still need contributions from the whole continent to change our global situation as a black nation.
Absolutely. And like I said, my goal was to find a place where when I say what I have to say, I have room to say it how I need to say it and not have to listen to no bullshit. And it don't take a whole lot of research to realize where that is. Just ask somebody who's from there. The Portuguese are the most vicious Europeans that there are. They're the first ones to start the slave trade. They're the first ones to leave Europe and touch Africa and build a fort there.
But the British took over everything they had, except for Angola.
Well, true enough, but that was based on the power that was gained over time after they got the idea to do what the Portuguese originally thought.
So you're trying to say they're innovators also?
They're innovators. And they also were the most vicious in their slavery. Come on now. You got to be some raw-ass crackers.
Brazil.
You got to be some raw-ass crackers to hold Brazil. Them crackers that can't stay in the hot sun. What kind of crackers? They mix with more, a little bit of black, so they can stand that shit. But when they went to in Africa, after, like you said, the British pushed everybody, took what they wanted, after they got strong lions, slick ass crackers, they the Playboy, James Bond.
The British and the French.
You know what I'm saying? Well, British just freaky motherfucker, they say, hey, look, we're going to negotiate, but then we're going to fuck everything. And hold that reputation in the world to this day.
All right, brother, talking about Europe, so once we start this movement with the Pan-African Lodge, what about our opposition, the European devils?
That was the first consideration.
So
that's why I picked Angola. When you got a place on
military,
when you got a place on 100,000 crackers, listen to me. Don't gloss that shit over. Because it sounds like some shit from a movie or something. Think about it. Can you count them all? Can you say a million? Go in the phone book and just call out 100,000 crackers' names. You see how long it take you. Man, I sliced through the jungle in Panama and Brazil with the Cubans. I learned one thing. When you take your life into your own hands based on you being somewhere where you know if the people on the other side see you, even see you, they gonna kill you. Not that, well, if they stop you and then feel like something, and then they might try to search you and then you'll go through some shit, and then they'll get you to the jail and then think about killing. No, I was talking about as soon as they lay some eyes on you, and, your ass done had it.
All right, Brother Tut,